So this week we will finish with the Java FX UI control. So this week we will cover what we didn't finish in chapter 15, and we will cover the animation part in chapter 16. So let's review again what are UI controls in Java FX. We did talk about we have the node, so that's a parent inherited from. So each stage can have one scene. One scene have only one parent. So the parent, of course, we talk about in chapter 14, they can including different pane, or we say the layout. But also here, the pane also can be just a control. So that's why we can just display a button in the scene. So we talk about most things is in the button. So you can add the event handler on the button. So in this week, we will talk about more UI control. For example, like the checkbox. The checkbox is like a square button. You can check. So that's your quiz. You have multiple answer question. So you can choose multiple answer. So that's the checkbox. Also, we have radio button. The radio button actually is a group toggle button. Only can have one button each time being selected. So they are all under the UI control and under the labeled. So the actually button also is kind of a label. So later we will show you on the label or a button, we can also have the image icon to display on the button. So this week we will talk about checkbox, radio button. So you also have some example more about the text field. So the text field actually understand they are inherited from the text input control. You also can have a text field for the user ID, but also you can have the password field. So they will display the user enter just as asterisk. And the last one, we will talk about the combo box for all the UI control. For the first one, let's see what is the button and the button base. So like earlier we say here, we introduced the button object before. So we can create a button. So usually we just have a text to display that button. But also you can be, addition to the text, you also can have a graphic node. So this graphic node we will show you, actually you can have some image icon from the file we can display on the button. So you can see here the UI control button actually is inherited from the button base. So that's the reason we have the set on action. So the on action actually is the private data from the button base. So then set on action, we can add our event handler. So that's why here, why the button can register an event handler. That's because they inherited from the button base. So earlier you will see here, not only the button inherited from the button base, checkbox and the radio button. So in the following example, we will show that. So how you will add a register event handler to register on the checkbox or radio button, they will be the same thing. We just need to do set on action. So then we register our event handler. Of course, you can use the lambda expression on that. So the first example I want to show you here, so this one actually is the button demo. So you can see here we have two buttons. So we are not only have just a left and right string, so we actually can add a graphic icon. So right, when I click on the left button, so then the display text, they will go to the left. So then, right, we can go to the right. So like we say, every time when you want to have your GUI to interact with user, but the first thing you need to think about how you display your GUI. So now you see here, we have a field is the text. So then we have two button on this, two button object display. So the first thing, what kind of pen you want to use. Right, so remember we say we have the border pen, right? Even border pen, you have top, bottom, center, left, and right. But here, even we only have 2, we can just make this one is in the center. So then on the bottom, we can have an H box. So we have 2 buttons. So the first thing we will see, how should I add these 2 icons? So that's why here you will see we still have our GUI display like that. We have a border pen. The border pen, I will have the center, then I'll have a button. Right, so the center here actually just the pen for the text. So this pen, we can just be a regular pen. So then we have a text. We give them some coordinate for the X, how they will start. So that's why here, set center, the pen for text is in our line 40 to 43. So you can have a pen. So this one just regular pen. So then we see we just add the children for the text. We start from the X coordinate equal to 20. So you can post this video if you didn't have your sample code ready yet. So that's in our module 12 demo file. So you can find the button demo.java file. So that's for the text display. So then, right, I have 2 buttons, right? Right, so the same thing, I have left button, I have right button. So then this one, I can have a H box to display one by one. I still using the get children, I add all. So now here I want to show you. When you create your button, right, not only you can have a string, so then you can have your image icon. So to create an image view, you need to create an image view object. So this image view object, you just need to specify a string to tell them, okay, that came from the file. So this file name is the left.png file. Of course, you can set your image view on the height and width. So I want you to consider this image view kind of like a picture frame. So you need to have a picture in the frame, right? So then this frame can display. So that's what we call the image view object. So create the image view object, you can either create the file object, or here our choice is we just have a double quote, that means the string. So this string just need to tell them, okay, I came from the file. So I have left PNG file and the right PNG file, just like we displayed earlier. But one thing is, right, you have these 2 files, but these 2 files, where should we save these 2 files? Okay, remember I told you, please, whenever we want to read a file, I don't want the path, right? Because when I run your program, I don't have your path. So you don't have the file path. So always we just including the file name. So if your file name just display here without any related path, right? So just like, did you remember before you tried to read from the text file before? Right, so that's why all the files, they are located under your project directory. So here I want to show you, if you have your project directory, so then that's your file should be. So you need to know where is your workspace and where your project. So remember your file name is under the project base. So my project name actually is Java FX 12. So remember under your project folder, you have bin and the source, right? So sometimes maybe your source, you can have multiple package, that's fine. But one thing is, all the file you want to direct access, they are under the project folder. So the same location, same label as your bin directory and the source directory. So that's why here I have the left PNG file and the right PNG file. So if you want to access these 2 files, also I have that in our demo file folder. But you need to know, after you download that, where is the correct location. Good, so that's how we will have a GUI display like this. So one thing is I want you to run this program. Okay, so then the next one we will add more on this GUI. So that's why here, you know, sometimes your GUI, you have some base. Okay, especially sometimes, for example, you have your project you want to work on. Your project have your own logo. So then just some content you want to change, right? So right, so sometimes you need to have your GUI base. So then for different location, maybe you want to add different additional GUI on that. So this example, we also want to show you a sequence file. So this sequence file is what? You can see here, our class called button demo. We extend from the application. But here we have one protected border pen get pen method. Okay, so this method is what? This method is later we will inherit it from this base class. So this base class you will see here, since we are extend from the application. So we need to override our start method, right? So you see here, actually our start method only from here. Our start method is only have the scene, stage, set scene. So then that's why here you see this get pen is important. And we make that is protected. So to be protected, that's mean here in the future, I can have based on this text only. Based on here, I have the text display. I have the button control. So then later, if on the right hand side or left hand side or the top, I want to add more thing, I can just try to inherit it from this class. So then I overwrite this get pen class, right? So then I can add more region or more information on our GUI. Okay. So this one actually is our base class button demo. So later, the following example, I will show you how we add the checkbox and the combo box. But one thing, right, after I have the button, don't forget we need to set on action. We're using the lambda expression to add our event handler. So that's earlier I show you, right, since our GUI, when we display, okay, I make that right hand side to move our text. Yeah, so then I just change the x coordinate. So that's why here you will see the text, I set x. So I get original text. So here the displacement, the offset, you can decide by yourself. If you want them to move faster, you can make the 10 bigger. If you want them to move slower, so then you just need to make the difference. The constant you subtract a little smaller. Okay, so that's our first button demo class.